Hello, welcome back to another episode of Thunder Stories, and yeah, it's really great to see you all again. So if you are new to the channel, welcome to your first video. If you're not new, welcome back. And so don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. It's a great way to find out when we upload, and yeah, just to make sure you don't miss any of our videos. So this week, the major thing that we did was that there was a Christmas market. It was really cool. We had a lot of fun. Stick around to the end of the video to find out and just to see that part. And there was something really cool that happened while we were there. So stick around and definitely find out what that was. It's our little surprise at the end. But of course, before one can have fun and play, especially when you're on a farm, you must work. So join us today. I think we're just going to focus on the feeding aspect of our work, which is kind of the major thing. When you run a beef farm, or run, like we run the farm, yeah, right?
My parents do, we just help them.
We just work for her parents. But when you have a beef farm, kind of your main job is feeding and every now and then herding. But right now we don't have too many herds, so not so much herding. So our main job at the moment is feeding. So join us in that journey. So here you can kind of see me shoveling sand. So what I'm standing on top of is a giant pile of what we call silage. Silage is just a beautiful mixture of hay, corn, some people use like sorghum, and just a whole other bunch of beautiful plants that the cows love to eat. So at the start of every season, well, in harvest season, farmers will harvest it, they'll put it in between those giant hills of sand you can see, and then they put a tarp over it and they leave it for a while, and it kind of ferments a little bit, not like woo ferments, but it just gets a bit of a good, it smells wonderful, by the way. And the cows love it. It tastes really good in the end. So you leave it for a little while. And so what they do is they put these tarps over, and then they put sand over it as well to hold the tarp down. Because if any of you have ever worked with a tarp, you know that when wind comes, tarps
and also
take off.
Also to seal it up so it can ferment and the process all goes well.
Yeah.
Otherwise you have a lot of like moldy stuff.
Yeah. So if too much moisture gets in, it gets moldy. But if you need kind of just the right climate to help it ferment properly, and also it helps that the rain doesn't get in, because again, rain gets in, it gets moldy, it ruins it, it's not great, and you've wasted like an entire harvest. And let me tell you, seeds are expensive, diesel's expensive for planting, and then diesel's expensive for harvesting. It's just, you don't want to lose that kind of money. So yeah, so here I am taking that sand off basically. So as you work and as you take and use it, obviously the pile moves backwards. So every now and then you have to just take some sand off. We don't take it all off because obviously, like we said, it will unseal, and then you end up with a lot of wasted food. So once I did that, that was my job the other day, while Stacy's dad was out in the field working with my brother-in-law. Then you pull the tarp aside. Feeding time rolls around. Normally in the evenings is when we will feed silage. Before then, in the mornings, we will give like pellets, like food, and then some, it's basically maize powder, maize pheno is what they'll call it, in the mornings to certain cows. So we don't give it to all, and it's the same actually with the silage. You don't actually feed necessarily all your herds, because it's expensive. If you have lots of money and you were able to plant a lot of silage, then you can feed all your cows silage. But here we don't have that much silage to go around. So then comes in, Stacy's mom normally does this with the tractor, and she'll scoop it up. It's really great. It makes it super easy. Not every farmer is as privileged as we are right now to have this tractor. So if you don't have a tractor, it's a wheelbarrow. And then you got to do a lot of trips backwards and forwards, scooping it up. So thankfully we just take the tractor, take the front loader, scoop it up a bunch, take it from there. We will dump it into the feeding trough. Normally around 2 to 3 loads go into the feeding trough, depending on the size of your herd, how much are they eating. You can see, like, because again, if they just leave it there and they're not eating it, it goes off and it goes to waste. And again, you don't want to waste anything. So after we put the loads in, sorry, we have the notes again. Remember, I mentioned this before. We use notes, we have bad memories, and we don't want to miss out on anything exciting for you guys. So after it's been dumped in, we even it out. Makes it easier for the cows to get to it. So you don't, because when you dump it in, you just have a big mountain in the middle of the trough, which is hard for the cows to reach. And if they walk too far, it breaks the trough. We've already had a few troughs where the wall is just caved in because the cows they just push over it, and over time it just gives in. So
Yeah.
you kind of even it out so that it's more to the sides for them. And yeah, they love it. The cows go absolutely crazy for the silage. Maybe I'm wrong about saying it's not the fun ferment, because those cows really like silage. The most important job after we do this is that we have to go and fetch the herd where our cows are in. So we don't have a full herd. Remember, we only have 6. So our herd is with another herd. So remember I said we don't always feed every cow silage. Fortunately, for the time being, our herd is being given silage because, again, we don't have too many. But what will normally happen with a herd that's not giving silage, or that they're a few months away from being sold, like you're not in a hurry, they don't need to gain weight too fast, they go out to the fields and you just kind of leave them there to graze. So the most important job, kind of our main role in feeding, if like I'm not just helping to even out the food, is we have to go and fetch our herd, and well, the herd that contains our cows, so that they can have their silage. And then we bring them back. So they spend the day out normally grazing in one of the fields, and then in the evening we just bring them home so that they can have their feed of silage. And then in the morning, instead of giving them pellets and the maize, they get herded out. So yeah, that's feeding cows on a farm.
Yeah, but we don't just feed cows. We also got those chickens the other day, so we were feeding the chickens as well. Here you can see me mixing some feed for them that we normally feed them like in the morning, lunch, and evening. Yeah, so it's you don't have to necessarily mix it with water, but it just makes it so much easier for the chicken to digest and all of that. And at this point, they're at the stage where they need a lot of feed so that they grow big and strong. Yeah, so, and then also we feed our pigs and give them some water as well, especially on hot days. They need a lot of water.
The big one doesn't have his own water bowl.
Yeah, the big one doesn't have his own water bowl because he keeps on standing on top of it or
tipping it over,
poops into it, whatever he does. So we just use the hose pipe, and he loves it. He absolutely loves that.
It's like a stroll for him.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about the chicken feeding. Then we also had to wash our cars after the last rain. Yeah, we try not to use the bucky and the car so much while it's muddy, but every now and then you do have to go somewhere, especially on the farm.
And here, there's no tar roads. In like the farm town where we are, so the nearest tar road is kind of the highway to go to the city. So driving around in rain is like, you can't avoid mud. If it's been raining, you're gonna drive in mud. So normally with rain, like she said, we try not to drive.
Yeah, so this is us just having fun cleaning the cars. Then also Jono was working at the back of the farm. He was ripper together with my dad. And on the way there, it's like we mentioned the other day, after the rain we get a lot of millipedes.
Millipedes or centipedes, lots of bugs and insects come out.
And this is just like on the way there we saw this massive crowd of, I don't know what they're called, like just a lot of them. It wasn't just, so we just recorded one spot, but all over the field. It was crazy.
Just these massive piles of them.
Yeah, and then we also saw this creepy millipede. Centipede. That one that I can never remember how to call it.
You just have to count the feet.
Yeah. No, it crawls too quickly. I can't do that. Anyway, and it was about to break into the house. It probably went into the house. We sometimes have had centipedes in the house, not gonna lie. They just, I don't know how they do it, but they kind of go into like the smallest little like opening, like it's literally like you can't see through, and they somehow fit in there. So yeah, that's what we saw. And then also on the way back from town, I went to town with my parents one day, one afternoon it was. And on the way back, we were in such a hurry. But anyway, on the way back, we saw this little, it was actually a big antelope. And it was so beautiful because now with the greenery in the background and just the water everywhere, they come out and they drink the water. It was so beautiful. Yeah, so we got to see that.
Yeah, and also you may have noticed that the camera's not moving around like it does in every video. We managed to get, well, Stacy dabbles in photography and she did a lot. So we had a tripod for a camera, but we didn't have, so we finally got the attachment to put a phone on. So That's been wonderful. Thank you to all like 85 subscribers that have been part of this journey over the 2 months to buy a tripod. Appreciate it.
We're moving over to our market. Our Christmas market happens. It actually started like 4 or 5 years ago that we finally started having a Christmas market here locally in our area, and it's like a 3-night. Or it started on Thursday, so 4 nights. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it's just like a lot of handmade, it's small artists and restaurants basically,
yeah,
like
they open
like,
small stalls.
Like, it's like stalls, yeah. People locally that make food and those kind of things. So we went there on Saturday, I think.
We went on Saturday,
yeah. And it happens, the location is like one of our museums, kind of park museum kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there in the park is a lot of old vehicles and old machineries that my ancestors used back in the days when they first started, or like maybe 30, 50 years ago here. These are like, I almost said art pieces, but they're not exactly art pieces, but someone
Antiques.
really put it into it, like a lot of effort into it. So yeah, it was very nice just to see these kind of things all around, and yeah,
especially for me, because like I'm not from here, I don't have the history here, so it was really cool to have that chance. It was free entry, which is also really great.
Oh yes,
it was like a really awesome
you just pay
market.
for the food, and it all was so delicious.
And as you can see, it was quite beautiful. We got there in the daytime, so there were no lights yet, but once the sun set and wow, the lights came on, it was actually really beautiful. But now the big surprise, the South Africans are taking over Paraguay. We found more South Africans. So we found a stall. First was actually like, we'd walked past it, we didn't even see it.
Yeah.
And then we were talking to a friend, and they were like, oh, like they were talking to Stacy, and she was like, oh, your husband's South African, did you go to the South African food stall yet? And we're like, what South African food stall? So they pointed at us, they were like, no, it's that side. We're like, we were just there. Yeah. And we hadn't seen it, and then we went back. I took one look at the name, so it was called Henry's Kitchen. And I'm like, because we went back to where we were, and we're like looking at the names of these stalls, we're trying to figure out. And
which is the South African?
I saw Henry's Kitchen, I'm like, that's the one. So we head over there. It was super amazing. It was a whole family. They've been here for like 30 plus years. Really cool. Their son was helping out. It was really great. So I got to speak, or got to revise some of my Afrikaans, which is really great. And just some really cool South African food. They had chutney for sale that they make themselves. Fritos that they also make themselves, which was so cool. The fritos were delicious. The chutney was delicious. We bought a small thing of chutney and a pack of Fritos, and then they were also selling boerewors rolls, sasaties, so all of these foods that we get in South Africa that you can't really get here because the sausage here is a bit different. They don't really do sasaties. So that was really great. So we met them, we had conversation, and it was so awesome to meet some other South Africans. And then also there was a South African musician playing, which is crazier. So he's a country gospel singer. His name is Chris Els. So shout out to Chris Els. Who was performing, so he wasn't performing at the...
He wasn't performing live outside.
Yeah, he wasn't performing at the market, but like basically across the street, and they have like a music hall in the city here, and he was performing there. So they live streamed his performance to the market, which is really great. So we got to hear some of his music, and wow, he's got a really nice voice. He's a very talented musician. So beautiful. I do think he's got like some YouTube videos up and stuff. Of his songs, some music videos, some of his own works, and he's got an Instagram too. So Chris Els, really great. So yeah, it was really nice for me just to like see some of my own countrymen here in Paraguay, and it's really great. The people that were running the stall don't live too far from, like by farm standards, they don't live too far away from where we are. So hopefully, we might see them again, hang out sometime, so we can kayer a little bit Afrikaans style, and that's it. That's been
but
our
we also got legit coffee, iced coffees,
which was so good in the heat. Like I'm not gonna lie.
So it was very nice.
Shout out to Coffee Bros Paraguay.
Yay.
We can't find you guys on Instagram if you are watching. We're really sorry.
But it was cool. It was very nice. It was good. We saw a lot of friends and family. It's always a good get together that you don't plan, but it just happens.
Yeah, these kind of events are really great because there's not a whole lot happening. A lot of people go there, so it's a really great chance to just catch up with people that, you know, they live a little bit too far to see regularly, and it was a really good chance. We saw a bunch of people as well that didn't know we were back yet, so it was really great to just see them, tell them we're back, and just chat to them. And a lot of Stacey's old friends, which was really cool.
Yeah, so
that's our week. That's been our week. The market was really amazing. The work's been really good. And yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming in the pipeline, so stick around. And then just an update. I don't know if we've mentioned it before in a previous video, but for those of you who are interested, I have to get obviously all my documents together to stay here long term. So we have been waiting for South Africa to send my documents. Finally, everything's been sent. It's all been translated. It's pretty much been done. So we have to go to the capital. So in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
in about a week and a half, 2 weeks, we have to head to the capital to finalize, do all the paperwork. But the really exciting news is that the guy that's helping us out is pretty confident that by mid-January I will have my ID. So we're applying for permanent residency on the grounds, obviously, of being married. So, you know. And so hopefully by mid-January I'll have permanent residency, which is valid for 10 years. So which is really great. So for 10 years I'll be able to stay here, work here. I'll be able to get licenses. I basically have all the privileges of a citizen minus the passport.
Yeah.
So really, really cool. So that's something really exciting news. So look out for that video. Not the video of us signing paperwork, but we have to go to the Capitol. So we'll try and get some footage around the Capitol, some of the things we're doing there. So thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
If you've gotten this far, don't forget, like, subscribe, tell your friends, share this with everyone, tell the world about this, and have an amazing week. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.